Welcome to another round of Salty Takeaways. Not necessarily bitter ends, although we will check your Twitter comments coming up in just a little bit. John here, Jarrett there. Time to go over the 2-1 win over Charlotte. And Jarrett, Charlotte came in. They, played their game, the one that we were used to seeing. Miguel Angel Ramirez did not change anything from any of the past two matches. Wasn't going to change his mentality coming in, having lost 3-0 and 1-0. Came into Atlanta, and they surrendered possession for most of the first half. Atlanta couldn't take care of opportunities. They did in the second half, but they didn't give up, and it took a moment at the end by Jake Mulraney to secure the 2-1 win.
It did, and this is the same Jake Mulraney that I have yelled to the heavens about in the time. Now, Jake Mulraney may not be an MLS starter. I don't know. Maybe he is. He seemed pretty adamant after the game. He said his job is to make Gonzalo Pineda's job difficult and give him a reason not to start him. And Mulraney has that kind of talent. It just hasn't manifested over 90 minutes consistently. But dude has got super sub written all over him, and he's had that for a while. We've seen him come into games and do this, where he just unbalances things because of his speed and his ability on the ball. And he puts a shot on frame that takes a deflection off the defender's back. Fortune favors the bold. He went for it. And, he had gone for it like 3 or 4 minutes before that. And I couldn't tell if before that was a shanked shot or if it was a pass trying to hit Joseph, but it goes out eventually for I believe for a throw. But yeah, that's what Jake Mulraney gives you. He's talented and is a really good, at the very worst, a really good super sub to disrupt things. He looked at the bench ahead of time, and I said, ahead of the game, like, that bench is stupid because of the guys you can bring off the bench. Yep. And look what they did. Marcelino Moreno hits a dime of a ball. That's your pass of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gorgeous. And he puts it in stride to Jake Mulraney, who finished the job. Like, great job, man. I got nothing else for you other than great job. The guys who you expect to see stepping up, stepped up and did the job.
Looking at the numbers, and we'll do that courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. In the lineups themselves, here was your starting 11. Jarrett mentioned the bench. So your starting 11, Brad Gazan and net punched to 7.7. Andrew Gutman, and this is left to right at the back. Andrew Gutman, George Campbell, Alan Franco, Ronald Hernandez, 6'9", 6'7", 6'9", and 6'5". And your midfield, Amar Sejdic had a 6.8. Ozzy Alonso with the yellow had a 6.4. Mateus Hosechu, once again. You look at Hosechu's numbers at the end of the day, and he just keeps doing what he is brought in to do at a 7.1. Tyler Wolff had a 6.7. Joseph Martinez with the PK on the board, a 7.3. Brooks Lennon, a 7.6. Jake Mulraney also punched a 7.6 for obvious reasons. Marcelino Moreno and Thiago Almada, who got his 34 minutes of work in, substituting for Tyler Wolff, both punching 6.5s. Looking at your stats on the day, 61% possession for Atlanta United, 14 total shots to 12. Shots on target, 8-7. And block shots, Atlanta United had 5. No block shots for Charlotte FC. Corners are dominant for Atlanta United at 11-5. Fouls, 16 on the day for Charlotte FC. So once again, the mantra against Atlanta United does not change, 16-8. 4 yellows on the day, 4-2. Then you look at shots inside the box for Atlanta United at 10-7. Saves on the board each with Kalina and with Brad Gazan, each with 6 saves. Passing on the day, first half, and I'm going to give you the first half numbers and then show you the second half numbers. First half numbers, Atlanta United in the first half at 88%, 249 of 284. 114 total passes for Charlotte in the first 45 minutes, completing 81 of those at 71%. Then in the second half, as things kind of turn around a little bit, 150 of 193 for Atlanta United at 78%, 135 of 183 for 74% for Charlotte. So on the day, your passing numbers, once again, Atlanta United, 477 total passes, 84% accuracy, just under 300 passes on the day for Charlotte, 216 of 297. Tackles 17-11 Charlotte, picks 11-7 to Charlotte, clearances 19-12 for Charlotte. So, Jarrett, we look at the starting lineup, no real surprises. You had moments early on where I know a lot of Atlanta United folks were wondering about finishing chances all over again. You had the chance early on with Joseph in the fourth, the header into the ground that Christopher Kalina, and I've got to give Christopher Kalina a lot of credit. He is going to keep Charlotte FC in a lot of matches because of what he is capable of doing there at the back. Did it against LA with the shooting gallery that was there. Did it here with it against Atlanta United. But it was early chances for Atlanta United. Hisetu had a chance in the first 45. Joseph had his in the fourth. I think that would have changed the tenor of the match. But once again, Atlanta United had chances in that first 45. They just didn't convert.
Yeah, they did. And this is this carryover from the Colorado game. We're getting into Frank DeBoer territory, though, pretty soon with I'd be more concerned if we weren't creating the chances because you expect them to put them away. Joseph's is one of those that it's far out, and he kind of snaps his head at it and puts it in the ground. Yeah, Kalina was on one. Kalina's been on one for a few weeks, though, y'all. Like, the dude's good at net.
Yeah.
Like, look, those 3-0, the 3-0 and the 1-0 loss before this, it wasn't like he was giving up howlers. Mm-mm. Dude can play. He's been under siege a lot this year. He's been really good. He was again today. Like he snatches that from Joseph. The save he made on Joseph in the 80th minute or so was he had no business making that save. It's all reaction. It's a great ball. It's a great run from Atlanta. It's a great cutback from Brooks Lennon or Ronald Hernandez. I forget who. I think it was Lennon who had it. And Joseph snaps his foot through it perfectly, and it's going to roof the net. And Kalina has no business making that save. He was out of this world. Like, they're going to pick up points this year they have no business picking up because of him and because of the fact that they bought into Miguel Angel Ramirez's philosophy, which we talked about this week. They're lacking in attacking talent. They're going to defend. They're going to try and get organized. They're going to get out when they can, and they're going to get set pieces. Bing, bang, boom, and you ran into a perfect situation in an Atlanta team that apparently can't defend set pieces right now because it's bad.
Mm-hmm. Kalina on the day, once again, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. 6 saves, 1 run out, a high claim, 4 saves from inside the box, 46 touches, 22 of 30 on his passing at 73%, 15 of 23 on long balls. He had a clearance as well. And you're right, Jarrett. Christian Kalina is going to get Charlotte points that they would not have otherwise gotten in other ways. Ben Bender gets the goal and punches an 8.1 for Charlotte on the day. So Ben Bender, when it was 1-0 after a takedown in the box, Joseph converts the penalty and gets it past Kalina to make it 1-0. You're thinking, okay, Atlanta has got that 1 goal on the board. They can push forward. And there were, once again, as the game was getting stretched, there were chances for Atlanta United to get that second goal, but it ends up with the equalizer from Ben Bender. To make it 1-1, Adam Armour with the Armour with the goal, Bender with the assist to make it 1-1. So Adam Armour is your trivia question for Charlotte FC. So Armour gets the goal from Bender, 1-1 in the 66th. And then, once again, you mention substitutions. Jake Mulraney, it comes in the 83rd, replacing Ronald Hernandez. And we've seen this before, and I know that we're circling back to a point about Jake Mulraney. But Jake Mulraney can come in, give you 20 minutes of hell, and you see the end result. And this was also going up against the point that we made earlier in the week on SDH about a 35-year-old left back in Christian Fuchs. And you could tell in the first 45, Brooks Lennon was having his chances coming down the right, going up against Christian Fuchs. Ronald Hernandez was going down the right-hand side, having his opportunities against Christian Fuchs. But once again, you bring in Jake Mulraney, who comes in for a 10-minute sprint or like a 20-minute sprint, and who was the one who was victimized there at the end on the changeover from his right to his left to set up the shot? It was Christian Fuchs. There were times where Charlotte would protect Fuchs and help out with that back line. But once again, at the end, when Christian Fuchs is out there at 35, Jake Mulraney, who is running all over the place, victimizes Fuchs to get that shot on that made it 2-1.
But you have to protect him. He's 35 years old. He's not a speed merchant at this point. And Atlanta was able to stretch them out and get those situations. Again, the ball from Marcelino Moreno was filthy, and I don't know what Marcelino Moreno has to do to get more respect. And I think it's coming more gradually, but Marcelino Moreno plays an absolutely disgusting ball. That goes, basically just he plays that long diagonal from the deep left across the right. Like, Fuchs is trying to read it in the air, and as he does, I think he has that oh shit moment where he knows he's not going to get to it. So instead, he does what's smart in that he backs off and gets himself set defensively. Problem is he's not as fast as he was. He can set himself up well, but guys like Jake Mulraney are so fast, but they're also so quick over 5 yards that once Mulraney, sets himself up to get on the left, and it's one of those where you're almost inviting him to get to the touch line and try and put something in with his weaker right foot, but he's able to switch over to his left and get Fuchs kind of twisted around a bit, and then gets the shot away and it's deflected into the goal. But, you're targeting him because you have weak points there. Everyone – we talk about this when teams press of – you don't just press for the hell of it. You don't just always do the Matias Almeida, press it man across, we'll leave a guy open and, 90 minutes of hell kind of thing. Like, you press with intent. You press to funnel the ball. You're trying to get the ball onto the foot of someone who's likely to make a mistake. You're attacking with intent. We saw the Twos do this last year when they could match up Aiden McFadden with somebody. You're doing things with intent. You're trying to get Fuchs isolated. That long switch gave Atlanta that opportunity, and you saw what happens when you had fresh legs and someone who's creative on the ball get isolated on that right side with Fuchs. Creates an opportunity, and again, fortune favors the bold. I think it's goalward, so he gets the goal. I want to think Kalina's got it measured because that was just that kind of day for Kalina. He had the kind of day of that man's going to rescue a point for them when he shouldn't, or he's going to rescue 3 when he should only rescue 1. But I think he might have had it measured. But yeah, when it takes that deflection, man, he's in no man's land, and we've seen that with Brad Guzan before, where it takes a deflection and the keeper is just there's nothing you can do about it. It sucks if you're a keeper.
Thiago Almada got 34 minutes. What'd you think?
I think it just took him time to get into the flow of the game. It's a weird situation to come into because after halftime, Charlotte makes changes. Miguel Angel Ramirez makes changes and tilts the game in Charlotte's favor, and they're playing really well. And this is the thing that we can build on this throughout the week. Charlotte's looked better to me every week. They still don't have the weapons. They're still coming to a gunfight with a single shot musket a lot of times. They don't have the attacking weapons to consistently punish you because they had opportunities, but the first ball or the second ball was just not good enough. Like, they're throwing away opportunities. They should have had a couple of chances, or they had numbers, and it'd be the first ball is just too far, or it's out of bounds, or it's behind somebody. But they were able to wrest control away at the start of the second half. Almeida comes in, and so does Moreno. Atlanta's trying to kind of regain control of it, and to me, it's kind of like he's made his chess move, and now you're in a situation where Gonzalo Pineda has to make his counter chess move. And he does, and Atlanta had to wrest control away. It wasn't like you brought him into a game where Atlanta was firmly on top. Like, Charlotte had wrestled control of that away and had mucked up the midfield. And it was a weird situation to have to come into. He had to go find the game. The game wasn't just going to come to him like, when Atlanta's used to playing teams that bunker at home. Charlotte went for it. I give them all the credit in the world. It's 1-1 late. Danny Rios comes in. He put on Danny Rios late. Good on you, man. They went for it. They decided we want to try and win the game or we're going to lose the game. You know what? Go for it, man. I give you all the credit in the world for having the balls to do it. But as far as Almeida goes, I want to see him get a start and see where he can go where he can be a part of Atlanta building control of the game instead of having to wrest control away from a really chippy team like Charlotte.
As we look at this one, once again, it was another fantastic crowd, another 43,000 there at Mercedes-Benz. And I think that you could, and Charlotte showed up. They had their couple of hundreds in that one particular section that's always there underneath the press box that we're used to seeing when it comes to the visiting side. So, when you look at this, I think once again, it speaks to the idea of soccer continuing its growth in the Southeast. And when you have a rivalry like this that has been created on some fronts, and especially on David Tepper's front, I still will maintain that Atlanta United facing Charlotte twice in about a month is better for Atlanta United, because if Miguel Angel Ramirez continues, gets the type of player that he's looking for, they're going to be a tough team, in addition to what we're seeing from Christian Kalina, from what we're seeing from Kalina and what's building. They're going to be a tough team down the line, just not right now.
Yeah, they will be. It's going to take them a little bit of time to get it all together, and they're going to get, they're getting their Polish winger in. He'll probably be integrated at that point, but if you're Atlanta, you're hoping that you're also going to have all your designated players ready to go. You'll have all your depth pieces ready to go, and you'll have everybody more integrated and more kind of on rhythm and on the same page. So both teams are going to be a little bit different next time they see each other. You're hoping both of them will have a little bit more chemistry going into it, and should be a really fun game next time in Charlotte. Yeah, Charlotte's going to fight. And like I said, they might not have the biggest gun at the OK Corral, but they're still gonna get as much out of it as they can, and they're absolutely gonna defend. I want to see how they play at home in that game when Atlanta comes to town, because all we have for them at home is the LA Galaxy game where they were outshot 16 to damn 1 in the first half, and they were kind of, it's kind of the Mr. Krabs meme of the spinning portrait, but they kind of settled into that game. They got beat on a golazo, ended on a high note with a chance late at the end, and tried to push what they could. And they come into this game and play well. Somebody's going to catch them at the wrong time, and that might be next week. I don't know who they play, but somebody's going to catch them where they've built up this confidence and they've built up, this style where they're fully believing in everything and thinking all we got to do is keep Kalina in a situation where he can make the saves we know he can make, and go get us a goal, whether it's on a counter, whether it's on a set piece. They're capable of being that team for now and evolving into something else. And I think the ultimate goal is to evolve into more than that. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're trying to bunker and hit a set piece or hit a counter and call it a day. Like, Miguel Angel Ramirez wants to overload the hell out of your life. Like, get everything on the right side of the ship, flip it to the left, and let somebody work. And having a winger who can create, yeah, that kind of fits. God, like thinking of like Bruisi over in Austin would be a really fun fit for them if he hadn't gone to Austin initially. That's the kind of guy they're going to need when they create those overloads and get guys getting into the box down the road. This isn't going to be the end product for them. They should be proud of the fight they showed today. And we had talked during the week about like what's a good result for both teams. Well, you kind of got it. I know Atlanta fans are going to be belly aching about everything today, because that's just kind of in our nature, man. But you're in a situation here where Atlanta got a win, they got a late goal, and they got a lot of entertainment out of it. Joseph got his first goal. You beat Charlotte, and Charlotte, even though they didn't get their first point, they get their first goal, and they get it against their I guess rival.
Created
rival. Man, it's going to develop into a rivalry. This is the thing that pisses me off, is we don't have to force this shit. It's going to turn into a rivalry. Eventually, something's going to happen. We have 2 Alan Francos, for God's sakes, on the field. We're having to explain who is who and foul for Alan Franco. Which one? That one. No, the other one.
Yes.
It's going to develop into a real rivalry. Nashville will too. I'm sure DC will as well. It's going to be okay. We'll see how it ultimately continues to develop. But yeah, the more they play, the more they'll get salty and chippy with each other. Even though you have Joseph and Kalina trading jerseys at the end in respect.
Yep.
It's great. It doesn't have to be this manufactured, man.
To answer your question, it's next Saturday night at Bank of America against the New England Revolution, where they are already a plus 233 underdog.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. New England's going to be pissed. New England throwing away a 2-goal lead in really rough conditions, because guess what? RSL don't give a shit about rough conditions, man.
All right, so let's get into the Twitters, and thanks to everybody who has dialed us up for our Twitter exchange as always. And we'll start with Bartimus Prime, who wants to know, name something Alan Franco does well.
Last year, it was a lot of things. This year, it has not been. He's gotten his ass beat. That's one thing. He took a beating today. He's not shown what he was last year so far, and he's going to have to, because George Campbell's going to push him. George Campbell still has a lot of growth to do, because I like George Campbell a lot, but he still has growth he has to work on as a player. But Alan Franco's going to have to, and I thought he was better at the end of last week, man. Like, personally, as bad as that first goal is, that getting beat on in Colorado, I thought he was better after that. Not great, better. He's going to have to step it up, and he's capable of. Like, I know everybody wants to make the DP defender jokes. He's not a DP anymore, so technically, if we can live on the land of technicality, and I'm going to live and die there, it's not a DP. I mean, he's a high TAM defender. Who had to change kind of had to change his systems. Capable of playing this way, but it's not what he was used to. And I think he might be kind of in that hey, let's cross these streams here. He kind of might be that Mark Teixeira kind of guy where he's going to start slow, and you're just going to have to roll with that until he can find his groove. Because his groove at the end of last year was good. If he can find that, that'd be great.
And just getting into Alan Franco's numbers from today, once again, this is SofaScore. This is not Opta, but SofaScore, 4 clearances, 6 of 7 on duels won. Let's see. Then it was 73 touches, 85% passing, 53 of 62, 5 of 8 on his long balls from the back line, and 1 for 1 in a dribble attempt, 1 shot blocked on the day. Next up is Grizz coach K, Chris Coons, unfortunately exposes how average Atlanta United still are. A poor Charlotte side. They score their first goal. Gazan has 3 point-blank saves, or it's a loss. We score a PK, deflected goal on a shot that wasn't going in 6 minutes of extra time. If you can't disassemble expansion bottom dwellers at home, it's sad.
Yeah. If Kalina doesn't stand on his damn head, it can easily go the other way, man. It can go either way with that, because Kalina made some saves you know this is making.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when Joseph Martinez claps,
Joseph's literally laughing and clapping at the save. I mean, but yeah, it's a matter of yeah, you're imperfect right now. You're starting to get guys back healthy, but yeah, Atlanta's got to get better, and they definitely got to get better on set pieces. They can't live like this. It's not healthy, because teams are going to create set pieces against Atlanta United, and they're going to take advantage of them. So that's something Atlanta absolutely has to clean up. I said, man, Charlotte's a weird team. Like, they want to defend, and they want to defend like lions. And we'll see if that actually, is going to be sustainable for them. New England Revolution will be an interesting challenge for them. But yeah, I mean, you can, I get it. Like, I don't disagree in the sense that, like, it was disappointing that you didn't blow them off the field. I think some of it also is, but Alejandro Ramirez talked about it during the week. He got them boys up for this game. They were looking forward to it. They wanted their first win to be against Atlanta. Y'all want to make this a manufactured rivalry? Fine. We'll manufacture the rivalry, and we'll go out there and beat Atlanta on their field for our first ever win. I think they were just I think it was one of those as well. You caught a team that was up for it. Like, maybe the home stadium with 75,000 was kind of jarring for them. I know Greg Garza spoke about it 2 weeks ago. That environment can be kind of jarring even when it's your own. But man, they seemed up for it, to the idea of, we want to wreck your shit today.
A couple of things from Emilio that have to do with what you were just talking about. Emilio wants to know, when will we be okay defending corners? I think Campbell is being asked to do too much. He seems to struggle in tight spaces. Gazan struggled with distribution miserably. I never played, so any insight would be appreciated. Can some portion of Gazan's distribution be attributed to something obvious going on in the outfield? Who on the staff works on that?
I don't know. That's a good question. As far as the
bring one up
set pieces,
with Jason as well.
What's up?
I think we'll bring this one up with Jason as well on Monday.
Yeah, and like, as far as like defending set pieces goes, man, I mean, like, they can train it till they're blue in the face. The players got to do better. Mateus Setu loses his man. I love Setu. Like, he does his job well a lot of times, but man, he lost his man and gave up a free header in the box that Brad Guzan is going to tell you. Brad's going to tell you that he should have saved it.
Yes.
Like, he gets a paw on it. He's going to tell you he should have saved it, but he's going to tell you 9 times out of 10 that he should have saved it, whether or not he really should have or not. That's when I think he's going to feel like he should have saved. And yeah, like, you can absolutely look at it and think, like, man, I'd like you to get to that one if you can, please, if we're going to be nice about it. Murat's always going to tell you that he should have saved it. It's his that's his job, and he knows his job. but it comes down to the players and individuals. They got to do better on set piece defending. They can't lose their man. They can't be giving up free headers to a team that's going to be hunting in the box like that. And that's absolutely going to become a liability that they're going to have to fix. And yeah, you can train it all day, but they have to execute it the game, and that's on them. As far as distribution, Goose's distribution's been good. Like today was not a great day for it, but I don't know if that's like well, that was unexpected kind of flash in the pan. Like you just hope that you can get back to it. You just had a bad day doing it. Like a quarterback has a bad day. But yeah, he's definitely going to want to clean it up. And I don't know, if it's maybe in, working through unfamiliarity. Because you look at it today, you have Ronald Hernandez, who he saw some last year. You have Alan Franco, who he saw for chunks of last year, but George Campbell and Andrew Gutman, it's still new chemistry. I don't know because I've never played at that level how much that matters with a back line for him of knowing where everyone's going to be. But yeah, it does have to be better, and it's going to have to be better going next week against the Montreal team that can be really feisty.
Brett Tyler comes in and says, relieved to get a win, raises questions, playing an average team, desperate for more from the team. Brett, what I would posit as a part of this is, once again, you're finally getting everyone that was anticipated to be a part of this discussion anyway. You saw Santi Sosa as a part of the 18, so you saw Marcelino Moreno still gaining more minutes as we go. You got to see Thiago Almada for 34 minutes. And these relationships also, and you also didn't have Miles today too. So the relationships you're still trying to build. You're still trying to build the roster in the starting day 18 that you anticipate if everyone was healthy and you had your druthers and the starting 18 or the game day roster is what it is. You're getting closer and closer to that being a part of the discussion. So in the relationships also, Gutman and Wolf had great relationships that were being built to this point, and then now it's having to be relearned with Thiago Almada as a part of the discussion and Marcelino Moreno being a part of the discussion when he's on the left-hand side. So there's a lot of stuff that is being learned here since not everyone was either in place or 100% healthy. And remember, you're also doing all of this without Luis Araujo. So there's a lot of these moving parts that you have to kind of look at here as Montreal comes to town in a little less than a week. John Nason, our resident Coventry City fan, says, to be honest, it was a lot like watching the Sky Blues. Possession, shots, control, little to show for it. Atlanta even went full Coventry by scoring a winner 90+6. Lots to work on, but take the 3 points and move on. And Ella Bell, much like you, Jarrett, that was an uglier win than I like, but I'll take it. Have to be better defending set pieces, and that seems to be a common point that we're seeing here. The defensive set pieces, that's a point that's being brought up a lot here on the timeline.
Yeah, it is, and it should be brought up because it wasn't good enough. You get the result and you get the win. That's great. It wasn't good enough. And back to the point a minute ago. Yeah, I mean, I think I've made my point clear that you've had issues with getting guys healthy, and now that they're getting healthy, they are going to have to produce. Like, I've been able to look at it and say, okay, Colorado, you went in there, you're missing 4 out of 6 starters in your midfield and your attack. That's a tough situation. Let's see what happens when they get them back. Okay, guys are getting back healthy. They're getting back into the flow of the game. Okay, but they do have to produce. Let's not get it twisted. They do have to produce, and I think they can. But you don't just, okay, well, they're back, we're good now, right? Well, we'll see. They should be. We'll see how it goes. They're going to have to produce.
A couple of other things. Jake Mulraney, and this is from Soccer for Good OG. Jake Mulraney timed his last-minute heroics just perfectly. Nickajack 88, Mulraney missed his first chance, wasn't going to miss the second time he got in that spot, much to the point that you made earlier. And then the last one on the board comes from Caleb Wright, where Caleb says, despite the ref seemingly losing control of the match at the end of the
game, Jesus Christ,
Atlanta United fought when it counted and got the well-deserved win. That's his hashtag overreaction Monday night thought. So ref losing control late.
Man, okay, first of all, penalty. Yeah, they're probably going to get like a slap on the wrist for mass confrontation because the entire damn team gathered around the ref on a pretty clear penalty. Like, it's a penalty. It happens. It wasn't a phantom. It wasn't anything like too controversial. It's a penalty. Whoop-de shit. like the mass confrontation side of it was like, okay, man, you got to do something. You got to get them off the spot and off of your back, and then to stand over the spot, like with no punishment. Come the hell on, man. It falls under the blatant time wasting of, come on, you have to actually put punishments in place for players that do that. Otherwise, they're just going to do it. And what are you going to do? Sit there and shrug your shoulders and sit in your own shit while you watch them? I mean, come on, man. You actually have to apply the punishments as applied by the game. And I get it. Like, you don't want to flip the game with cards too much. I mean, you had already kind of done it, because then it gets even weirder later in the game where who is it? Brosecco?
Brant Bronico.
Bronico, excuse me. I'm sorry, Brosecco. How terrible. Bronico. I'm really sorry, Bronico. Bronico gets what really was a second yellow card foul. Like, blatant as the day is long, breaking things up. He plays advantage, which was smart because Atlanta creates an opportunity with it and creates goal-scoring opportunity. So great job playing advantage. Then comes back and doesn't do shit on a blatant second yellow card offense, and then decides to start chirping with Ozzie Alonso when Alonso tries to make his point about it. And, then Alonso gets a yellow on the throw-in because he does tackle the guy. But bullshit, man. He's looking for a reason to card Alonso at that point so he can feel like he's got a pair between his legs because he didn't do the right thing on the call before. Jesus Christ. It was inexcusable, man. You got to be better than that. Like, I get you want to, like, the rule, we've been over this before. The rule book bends. The rule book bends so that you don't feel like you are forced to change a game and sway a game that you don't want to sway. But when it's right there in front of you, just make the damn call like it's supposed to be made. That was just absurd. And, yeah, man, I don't know. That was... No, I had issues with it, but I guess I had issues with it.
So, last one on the board. I fibbed. We got one more. It's from Tafka. And it's a legitimate question from Tafka. He says, is Campbell the best second center back on our roster? And he's played better than Franco by a fair margin, in his opinion, for 2 straight matches. Franco's been fine. Campbell's been fantastic. So is George Campbell the second best center back on the roster?
I don't know. Like I said, I think Franco might be.
I think he's third, but he's coming
it's
from
closer. It's getting close.
He's coming in from the outside to try to close the margin there as we're getting closer to the turn, is what I'm thinking.
He's doing work, man, and credit to him. Like I said, I think Franco might be in that Mark Teixeira, he needs to get going region. For those of you who followed any of Mark Teixeira's career when he was with the Braves and then the Yankees. Very slow starter, and then once he got going, he was fine. It kind of feels like that might be his vibe, for better or worse. Not a great time for him to have that kind of vibe because of Atlanta's issues with red cards right now. But I think Franco he is. Let me put it this way: I think Franco is better, but he's not performing the part consistently right now. Like John said, like his underlying numbers today were good. He can be better than what he's shown. Let's put it that way. I think he is better, but he hasn't shown it efficiently right now. And yeah, George Campbell still has a lot of growing to do. George Campbell picks up a yellow card today because of a bad turnover, and then basically has to get the 2-point tackle and 1-point escape to Daniel Rios.
So that is the early thoughts from everybody on Twitter. Thanks for everybody who is hanging out with us on SDH to answer questions and ask questions here on Salty Takeaways. Obviously, we can bring Jason into the discussion with some of these topics, and we'll probably do that on Monday as the week goes along, as we get ready for CF Montreal coming to town on Saturday. So, Jarrett, now that this one's been put to bed 2-1, any final thoughts before we go and get everybody ready for Overreaction Monday?
I mean, it's a weird game. It's a team that came in that's not as good as you, but came in feisty and came in looking to wreck your shit. And it wasn't necessarily a trap game, if we want to use that term, trap game. But
when you're going up, it's an expansion team. Everybody's sitting there and looking for the first evers.
Yeah, everyone's looking for the first evers, and bottom line, like you continue to do what Atlanta has done in the past that I appreciate about this team. For all these skill players that this team has featured since day one, and guys who like to quote go down easy and this, that, and the other, like Atlanta has played with balls since day one. Like I've never really questioned their fight, and they got in a fight today, and they got 3 points. It needs to be better. It absolutely needs to be better. And I think it can be better. I think it will be better. But you went and got 3 points on a not your best day. Good job. Go get 3 more next week.
What he said. 2-1 win over Charlotte. Atlanta United gets a win at home in front of 43,000 plus at Mercedes-Benz, and get ready for CF Montreal coming up on next Saturday. So for Jarrett, I'm John. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's another edition of Salty Takeaways. Remember, Overreaction Monday, soccer down here, daily radio, 9 a.m. till 11, something. But Overreaction Monday starts at 9:05 on Turner Time. For Jarrett, I'm John. Play it safe, everybody. We'll see you on Overreaction Monday.